Okay, all right, good. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, we can do a completely different program. It doesn't have to be the same thing, right? Because we're going to be talking about switch statements. Unless you guys had something that you want me to talk about that doesn't involve switching, not yet branching. What were we doing before branching? We were doing input and output. Yeah. Input and output. No, let's not focus on input and output anymore.
So I think, can I tell you something about switch case right now?
Hmm?
Because I think you talked about we're going into that switch case.
We'll do that today. We'll do that today, Chad. Don't worry about it. Yeah. Okay.
I think I do know that switch case can be in some cases more efficient if else, right?
Yeah, well, we shouldn't worry about that. You know, as programmers.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Like, you know, if there isn't like some noticeable impact in your program's performance, you should just stick with if else, right? If you already written that.
No. It depends on, you know, on the situation. You can figure it out. You can try both out and see what makes your program more readable. You know, at the end of the day, it's probably going to boil down to programmer style. But you should.
I'm just saying. I remember how you said you should not optimize your code
Yeah, exactly.
Unless there's like something significant or maybe it's very unreadable or something.
Yeah,
Either one
I think
of those.
we shouldn't do something that's unsightly just because it's more optimal.
Yeah, so that's what I meant by just stick with if else if you already written it. And sometimes that might be better.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because
we'll look at the situations today when we can try both, and you know, we'll have an opportunity to compare and contrast and say this, you know, we'll use this here and that there and so on. Yeah. It doesn't really make a difference here, and etc. Yeah. Okay. All right. So is that what we're going to do today? So branching statements. We'll just take branching, and then hopefully we can also touch upon looping statements. What time is it now? It's 8:15, right? We got a lot of time. So you can talk about looping statements, branching statements, and you know, maybe we'll even luck out and have time to talk about arrays. Yeah, which means that we'll have a bit more time next week, because next week is supposed to be all about arrays and functions. Next week is week 5, is it? Yeah, week 5 really is supposed to be all about arrays and functions. Yeah, we'll get a lot more time to play around if we start talking about arrays today itself, because there's a lot of interesting problems we can do. Once we start talking about arrays, there's a lot of interesting problems we can do. In fact, after we cover the module on arrays, go and try and solve that curious request, right? So I think it's on 2B. I think I also shared it on the 2A subreddit. But more the winners of the last quarter contest were 2B and 2C students. Yeah, but you know, go ahead and give it a shot. You know, if you win it, I'll be happy to. If you better the existing winner, if you better the score of the existing winner, I will give you $100. How about that? Okay, so well, the first prize was $150, yeah, but yeah, if you better the first prize score, I'll give you $150. Okay, it's got to be worth more, right? So worth or more, right? So I'll give you $150 if you better the current winner on the curious request. Well, you can. I don't know if you can do it now, but you know, wait until you've covered arrays, because after you cover arrays, you have everything needed to solve that quest. So, because you know, when we're doing arrays, I'll also say, we'll also try and say, well, that's what arrays are, but you know, for practical purposes, we'll use a vector instead of an array, and then I'll show you where the vector man page is, and you can look up all the things that you can do with a vector, right? Given to you for free, just like string. You know, we've been using strings. Strings are actually objects in C++, not native character arrays, right? So they're objects. I just be using strings. It's an object. It's a complex object. We've been using it, and just like that, when we come to arrays, we'll say, oh, that's what an array is. But then when it comes to actually using them, I think we'd have much better success in terms of maximizing our time and enjoyment by using vectors instead of arrays. So you know, so once you use vectors and then you're familiar with the branching and looping, then you're completely set up, right? And all you need after that is just be able to sit down and think, right? Think up a way to mix these things together to get your answer. Great. Okay. All right. So someone grab the screen, and then we can try playing with branching statements. Actually, you know what? Peter is out. I don't know if you can see it, but see him, but he's out there. Start video. Oh, I got to turn this around. I don't know if you can even see it. See. Can you see him? Well, it's through the rain too. I don't know if you can, but he's over there. Oh, damn! I forgot to leave him his. So what I tried to do. there's a piece of string hanging from the ceiling, and I leave a peanut tied at the end on the end of the string. And then after he's had his fill of fruits, he tries to go and reach for the peanut. And every day I raise the, or shorten the string by a couple of millimeters. To find out when it's just out of reach, and then when he's got to try and devise some more clever ways to get the peanut. So I forgot to do that today. Maybe he's here too early. Anyway, never mind. Okay, all right. So why hasn't anybody taken the screen? Why I'm still looking at Chad's background here. Nobody's taken the screen. Someone take the screen. Not Michael, not Chad, not, yeah, Matthew. Thank you, Matthew. Great. Fantastic. Wow, it's really bright. Wait. Yeah, hit one time hit Control plus or Command plus or Control plus, right? One. I can read it, but I think yeah, I think that's better. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah, I can read it. Great. All right. So
this is a good starting point.
I'm sorry. What was that, Matthew?
This is a good starting point.
Yeah, this is a great starting point. Yeah. Okay. So how about we introduce a very basic loop, all right? A very basic, I'm sorry, very basic branching statements. Someone talk him through this, okay? Someone talk him through this, and I will join you and inject more ideas, okay? So I'll do that. And call out to me, all right? So call out to me.
Equals.
Oh, there he is. Still eating the apples. No. What happened?
Other people
Oh, you
aren't
got
talking,
the
so I'm
old
just
clothes
studying.
back?
Oh yeah. I was just checking out the headers and stuff because
I see. Yeah.
so I can copy paste them.
Why are you doing all the work? Why isn't anybody helping? Why aren't people calling out what you should be typing? And are you the only one who's supposed to go around and take a look for? I could call this out, but I'm hoping that other people will also chime in, right? It's not like a solitary exercise here for Matthew.
Yeah, the people can tell me what to type if they have any input.
Can someone please help Matthew?
Yeah. I think you should, in feed cat, you should change cat hungry to false.
Why?
Well,
because the
we
feed.
could.
No. Why do you say that? Why do you say that, Chad?
Because
Chad wants to feed the cat.
No. Cat hungry is false.
I get it. He means in here in this part I should set cat hungry equals false, something like that.
Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
It's not on the same scope though. What you could probably do is have the feed cat return a boolean, so that once you feed it, becomes you can reassign cat hungry equals true.
Yeah, totally, totally. Because if feed cat is not able to feed the cat, it could return false, right?
Oh, nice.
If you
Yeah.
see the
Yeah, totally.
red,
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of
Now,
red.
I wonder if you could probably try a switch statement. You know, maybe case 1 would be if the cat's hungry, case 0 is if it's not, right?
Yeah, let's try
you can
that.
do
Given bool
return
is given the way booleans
return
work.
yeah.
Return.
What Chad is saying, I think, and we'll try that later. Okay, let's do the Matthew way now. I think what Chad is saying, and someone correct me if I'm wrong, is that at some point later, let's make feed cat return what it fed the cat. Like, you know, 1 means it fed the cat cat food, 2 maybe milk, 3 something else, and then in main we can do a switch statement that that, you know, branches on what feed cat returns and tells us what feed cat did. I think that'll be a great idea. Is that right, Chad? We can do a switch case there.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So hold on to that idea. We will do that after Matthew is done with this thing here.
I'm just about done, but I did something wrong here, obviously.
Oh yeah.
This red line.
So let's take a look. I can find out, but I'm not going to tell you. All right.
Oh, it's expecting a parameter.
Oh, right. Cat. All right, no red.
Oh, so hey,
how about
Matthew,
do this?
why are you passing the a parameter? I don't know. You guys.
So.
How about this? You pass it the boolean cat hungry parameter, and then you return the inverse of it. So you do.
No. Why do I need to pass it the cat hungry parameter? Why? Tell me that. You know, I don't have a good reason for passing the cat hungry parameter.
We don't.
That's true.
Sorry.
It's also just going to pass a copy of the parameter.
No, you don't have to. No, feed cat could just be a function that doesn't take any parameters.
I think it's better that you you know, return true or false, right?
Yeah, but it is returning false via the variable.
I have a question. What if you just put cat hungry outside of either function, like on top of all the code, and then modify it in feed cat and main, or and access it in main?
Sorry. Who said that?
Me, Nate.
Nate,
like
Nate?
Declare cat hungry. Maybe, I don't know, on line 5 or 7 or something like that, and access it.
Right.
To put it in the scope of like all the other functions.
Exactly.
If it's just in main, then
It's just.
feed cat.
Wonder, can I have a link?
Oh, you
to
probably need to put it above
code
because
so I can.
you're referencing it and it hasn't been declared yet.
Can I have a link in the code so I can look at it?
Yeah, sure. It's how do I share it? Share.
But by the way, what Nate is suggesting is that let's make cat hungry a global value. Yes.
Yes, exactly.
So all right. So it's okay for small programs like this, but globals are really dangerous for larger programs elsewhere. So all right. So let's see what do we need this to do. So let's start at main. Someone describe what this program should do, right? Because I need to we need to know what the program is supposed to do before we actually flesh it out more. I think we're at the stage where
maybe we could print a cat that's and some cat food.
Sorry.
Maybe we could print a cat and some cat food.
Okay. All right. Good. So what we want to do here then is here's what we want to do. I think, right? So and correct me. So when main is invoked, it is going to examine this variable called cat hungry. All right. So let's assume that we're going to set it elsewhere. Maybe we'll have a few lines in main before all of that, which will somehow randomly set that value. Okay. All right. So and if the cat is hungry, main is just going to invoke this function called feed cat. And when feed cat returns, whatever feed cat returns is going to determine whether the cat is going to stay hungry or not. How's that? Is that a reasonable way to do it? That will also, and I can think of some way in which we can inject some randomness into it, so it'll actually be funny and interesting. So we can do it like that. Yeah, and I think that will also, we will try and use a bunch of branching statements like this, and I'll call out the code, and then you can flush it in, and other people can also call out stuff in it. Yeah. Okay. All right. So is that okay? Who's got the screen now? Is it Nate?
That's okay.
Is it Nate?
It's me. Wait, am I muted?
Matthew? Is it Matthew or?
Yes, I have the screen.
Oh, why is it? Why does Nate? Oh, I'm not in gallery view. All right. Wait a sec. Okay. So yeah, in gallery view it shows you, shows me all of you guys. Okay. All right. That's better. That's better. More light, also. All right. Yeah. Okay. So if that's okay, Matthew, we can start doing that. So get rid of that hello world and branching, and yeah, we're going to do our own, right? Yeah. Okay. So let's and put in a comment there that says, randomly, yeah, make the cat randomly hungry. Okay, make the cat randomly hungry. All right. Yeah, randomly, whatever it is. Say it in your own words.
Yeah.
And then. Let's say that we want to make the cat hungry 50% of the time and not hungry 50% of the time, okay? So, all right, so, okay. All right, so now what we can do is, I think, generate a random number, okay? Generate a random number, and then if the random number is even, then we can say that our cat is hungry, and if it's odd, then we can say the cat is not hungry. How's that? Is that okay?
All right.
Yeah. All right. So don't do the comment here. We'll just do the code, and the code will be self-explanatory. Yeah. So right, say bool cat hungry equals.
Should I say it in the global scope?
Right there. No. Right on the next line. No. Okay. Not global. Let's not use globals. Right. I think we can use globals, but I don't like using globals, and they will introduce problems later on. Right. So there's too much copying. Yeah. Get rid of the global. And yeah, cat hungry. No, not true, right? Equals. Yeah. Okay, so now we're going to use that ternary operator that we did before. Okay, last class. We did the ternary operator last class. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So all right. So we're going to invoke a library function called rand, R-A-N-D. All right. So in your terminal there on the right side, the black side of the screen. Yeah. Type man space rand rand. Yeah. So it's not a proper bash. Is that? Oh no! Hit the shell, not the console. Hit the shell. Yeah, the shell tab. Yeah. Man.
Oh, same thing.
Do you have? Is this a Mac or a PC?
Well, this is just the.
Oh yeah, open a browser. Open another browser. No, another browser. Another tab in the same browser.
And just a new tab.
Yeah, just a new tab. Yeah, type man ran.
Man.
No, not random, rand.
Yeah, autocomplete.
Yeah. All right, so what is it doing? So it's going to return an integer, right? It's going to return an integer, which means it's going to be, and I bet it's going to be a positive integer, right? And I think it's int because it is rand is such an old function, right? So again, these are things that give you signals, right? Astronomical signals. Right? So rand only returns a number between 0 and rand max, yes? So it only returns a number that is unsigned, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, but it still returns an integer. An integer is signed. It goes from negative to 32k to positive 32k. Yes. So rand is returning is unnecessarily constraining itself to rand max, which has got to be half the space because it's returning an integer. And that's because that, just like linguists, right? That's what linguists do in the field, right? When they do these field studies and they say, oh, this particular word that, is extant in Germanic or, in Anglo-Saxon languages was actually discovered or invented, right? Came about in that particular culture, which lived in, that decade, right? So they're able to do that very fine positioning of linguistic terms. It's just like science, right? So any science, and this is the way you do in science. In 100 years from now, they want to know when Rand was Rand the pre-size T era or the post-size T era. Size T was introduced in C++ at a later time when they said, okay, we have some quantities that are inherently positive, so we can actually use the entire unsigned space rather than use an integer. But yeah, historically, the older functions, they were returning an int. Yes, so these are cool things that we discover, right? So, all right, so this returns an integer. So all we need to do in our function, go back to our function, is say rand %2 equals 0 question mark, which means that you're going to divide by 2, and if the remainder is 0, that means what? Equals 0.
Oh,
Yeah,
equals-
you can, honestly, yeah. All right. So what Matthew was doing here, Matthew, are you a C programmer?
No, I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
The
Okay. All right.
suggestive
So
stuff.
I think what Matthew might have done was that he could have just put the question mark and it would have worked, right? Because it works in C syntax, because numbers, as we saw last class, map onto Booleans, right? And in true and false in C++, they're really just syntactic sure. Underneath the covers, they're all numbers. And not like in other languages where, Booleans are a native type, right? So, but in C++, they're, just masquerading in true and false outside, we think they're numbers, but, Booleans, but they're not. And so what he was doing there was, it's going to return a remainder, and then we can just do a question mark, because that remainder can be interpreted as a Boolean. If the remainder is 0, then you do what false is supposed to do. If it's 1, you do what true is supposed to do. Right? So I think that's what he was doing, but we'll do an explicit comparison to tell a programmer that's reading this program that, it is a Boolean, and we're treating it as a Boolean. Now, if we treat types as non-native characteristics imbued to them, that introduces confusion in the minds of programmers. Okay, all right, so question mark at the end of the 0. Right? And so if it is returning to you a value of 0, if the remainder is 0, that means it's even, right? So, 50% of the time it's even, 50% of the time it's false, not odd. So you say, question mark and a space, and then 50% of the time return true, the other 50% return false. Yeah. True?
True.
Yeah.
False.
Yeah. All right. All right. So now this is a branching statement, right? Written as a ternary operator. Now someone take the initiative, I think, right? So to step in here and call out for Matthew to comment out line 18, Matthew? You comment out line, yeah. All right, so someone, can someone volunteer to call out the code, which will do exactly the same thing using an if statement, okay? Instead of the ternary operator, use an if statement and do exactly what we did before, right? It's call rand, take the remainder, all that stuff, right? So we want, at the end, we want cat hungry to be a variable, right? Also make that camel case, right? This looks like Katarungi, right? So, right, and then we want to set that variable to true or false, 50% of the time.
What we could do is if rand remainder 2 is, this is Nate.
Nate, yeah, all right, go ahead, Matthew. Type in what Nate says, yeah.
If parentheses, you want parentheses around the,
Oh yeah.
rand remainder 2, so that's percentage sign 2 equals 0. Then you want to get out of the if statement. You want to put brackets. Yes.
All right.
Return true. Or sorry, no.
Set
wait. So you want to declare cat hungry before. So above both of that, bool cat hungry. And then in the if statement, type cat hungry equals true. And then below that, type else. Brackets. Cat hungry equals false.
Great, thank you, Nate and Matthew. All right, so does everybody did everybody else follow along to see what happened here? Right, it's exactly the same. Also gives you a very good, example to compare a ternary operator with a standard if-else. It's essentially does the same thing, and you can see here. You can tell, right? You can decide which one of those is more readable to you. Now here, that's a classic example, right? Because the ternary operator, if you ask me, is less readable, right? It's less readable than the if statement initially, because initially. But after a while, the ternary operator is actually more readable and also more convenient. But then
that's actually what I was going to say. Yeah.
Yeah, but initially you have to put in that investment, right? This is like developing a taste for it. And I think that's when we ask, is my life as a programmer going to be simpler if I invest the effort in getting used to a particular programming idiom? What is it programming? The ternary operator is an idiom, right? Otherwise, I'll use an if statement. Ternary operator is just an idiom, right? So it's and just like in language, right? So we have all these idioms, and we just ask, is it worth it for me to get used to that idiom, right? If it's not worth it, don't do it. And so likewise, we have a fantastic case here. So you can try this, and then you can say, for me, I think ternary operator has been well worth it to get used to, right? Because at the beginning, I know, I felt, I didn't feel comfortable using ternary operator. It was messy. But then after I got used to it, it actually simplified a great deal of things. You know, not even just laying out the code, even thinking about these things, you know, just like that, I think it makes a difference, right? So that's great. All right. So is that okay? Can we move on to the next step? Is everybody okay with that? You know, someone here, I don't have the chat window. Where the hell did my chat window go? Wait. I'll get it on my iPad. Yeah, okay. Well, there's only 2 messages on my in the chat so far. All right, so you guys should basically chime in at the iPad saying, all right, I'm good so far. We can move on to the next step, which basically is, what are we going to do? Yeah, so we're going to, if the cat is hungry, we're going to do it. And then if the cat is not hungry, you say, don't, you know, you can just see out, you know, I'm just happy not eating or something like that. Or just say something, you know, say a wisecrack. If hungry, then you can call the function, right? So call the function, and then you switch on the return value of the function, and the return value of the function will tell you if the cat is still hungry or, you know, what it ate and so on and so forth. Okay, so we'll do everything here, right? We'll just do that in this program. Okay, so and as of now, only one person says they're comfortable, right? So either the other people are not even listening to class, they're just taken off, or they don't understand what has happened so far, right? If you're, you know, what we're going to do next is basically just, just going to switch on the value of, you know, we're just going to call, you know, just going to call cat hungry and switch on the value. Yeah. All right. So yeah, Ben says yes. Ben and Chad are the only people who want to move on. Okay. Yeah, go on. Yeah, this is your roll call too. So type in yes. All right. Because I don't want to move on. If I'm just going to Matthew and me and Nate, and there's 3 people, we can just do it on Zoom later.
I think the only thing I'll point out is instead of including standard lib.h, which is like a C library, you will use the C standard lib.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
How do we change that?
C, put the C in front of the S, C in front of the S, and then remove the .h.
All right.
All right, so I think most people are saying go on. I don't know. Okay, all right, so we'll move on. I'll go to Tina. Okay, all right, so we'll move on. All right, so if cat hungry, what we can do is, let's handle the not cat hungry case first, all right? So we can say, if cat not hungry, if not cat hungry, right? If not cat hungry, you can see out something interesting and then basically exit, right? Or return from main, and your job is done, yeah?
Yeah.
If not cat hungry, if? Someone else call out, right? Someone else call out. If not,
okay, they've got it.
What do you want me to say?
No, someone else, Chad. So, so you went the previous time, right? So someone else, yeah. So if not cat hungry, you see out some, you know, interesting message. That's all, right? So just see out an interesting message, and then return from main. That's, you know, main is done there. And then we get the else case is where cat is hungry. And then here I will show you an interesting and important thing to do with if statements, okay? So it's to do with the program layout, which I think you'll find you can use to great advantage. later on. Yuxi is the last one who.
I think it's better to use else in that case.
Sorry?
I think it's better to use an else statement in that case.
No, I see. This cat is stuck. Okay, so you want an end line at the end. I'm sorry, I wasn't watching. All right, end L. All right. So
sorry,
then
I'm
you want to
used to
do a
Python,
return
so.
on the next line. Yeah. Okay. All right. So use an else. Use an else. Right. Use an else. Okay. So and then what you do later is automatically what is cat. So yeah, you don't need that. Yeah. So you clean it up.
Yeah, we have two people typing.
You don't.
Yeah,
I was
please.
actually,
Yeah,
I was actually helping you.
type. The other person should just call out. Okay. Chad, are you also typing? Don't type.
Oh,
Okay?
sorry.
Okay, just call out.
It's just a little confusing.
And I think also Replete gets confused if many people are typing, then it can't. Yeah. Yeah. So here, else you can say. Let's say, so here what we want to do is, we want to feed the cat, and we want to take the return value of feed cat, and then we're going to see what the cat was actually fed. Okay, so let's say else. How about this? Okay, let's use a switch statement. Okay, let's use a switch statement. Okay, switch. Yeah, switch. Open. Open. Yeah, parentheses. Parentheses. Yeah. Okay. And then call feed cat right there. Call feed cat. Feed cat. And then before we forget, no, I think you called it with an underscore. Yeah. Okay. So before we forget, it's not going to return a bool anymore. Make it return an int. Make it return an int. Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. And that's great. All right. So and then you can return, get rid of the cat hungry equals false, and also and clean up that function. We'll come back to this later. Okay, so return 0 for now. Return 0 for now, so that it's a stub. It's a stub. Okay, so we'll come back to this later. Okay, so switch feed cat, and then inside of switch feed cat, so yeah, open your curly brace. Open your curly brace right there. Yeah. Okay. On the next line, so we're going to have a bunch of different cases, and then a default. Okay, so here are the different cases. Now let's say. If feed cat returned 0, if feed cat returned 0, that means the cat was not fed at all. Okay, so if feed cat returns 0, so you say case 0 colon. Case 0 colon. Colon is not semicolon. Right, colon. Right. So enter. Right, and then here you could say see out. Alas, the cat was not fed. Alas. The cat was not fed, or something like that. When I say you can play with these messages later after class, you can play with these messages, share the code on Reddit, and you can change the program completely, make it more entertaining and interesting, right? So, right, and all right, wasn't fed, okay, and then you want to break, so you want to indent in the cout because this cout belongs to the case, okay, so yeah, okay, and then the next statement. So everything you type now belongs to the case until you type what is called a very important statement called break, right? So now we'll say break. Okay, that means now I've completed all the statements that need to be executed if feed cat returned 0. Yeah, so case 0 is now completed. Now say case 1, and then you can say the cat was fed Frodo's food, or someone else's food, or something like that, or or milk, or whatever. Say something, right? So case 1, feed cat fed the cat something. Case 2, something else, and so on. And in feed cat, we'll generate a random number, decide what we're going to feed the cat, okay, and feed the cat that, and return that random number. Okay, so we'll have some kind of coordination, and then we'll also use the opportunity to use some hash defines or constant enumerated types at the top to say 1 means cat food, 2 means milk, 3 means mouse, 4 means, and so on. So we can define these things so that instead of returning raw numbers, we can define these symbols, which the compiler will change for us at compile time. Yeah, does that all make sense? So it'll be a self-contained nice program, and every time you run it, you will get a interesting message saying that's what the cat was fed. This is like a Schrodinger's cat, right? You never know what the cat got fed until you hit the program, right? Until you ran the program, you don't know what the cat was fed. Okay, so there you go, a whole new quantum program that you're just writing right here. Okay. All right. So, all right. So feed cat. Yeah, just type in a few more, right? I shouldn't be the only one. You know what? Dollar food. Yeah, dollar food doesn't work. Plus, okay. Yeah. All right. The cat was fed, and then choose something for one. Right? Maybe tuna. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Let's go with tuna.
Yeah. All right. So choose, and then where you have situations like that, you can just put the /n. You interpolate the /n. You don't have to have. I think it's fewer characters, right? So /n.
Right.
Something like that.
These two. Dry.
Dry food. All right. Okay. All right. Cool. So we'll leave it with these two cases, and then we'll leave you guys to play with more ways of fiddling with this code later on. Okay. So obviously, there's a lot more scope for doing things here. So let's because there's a few things we can do right here. Okay. So now let's go and fiddle with feedcat. Okay. We'll make a feedcat return the right thing. Okay. So generate a random number inside a feedcat also. Okay, generate a random number, and then take the remainder of the random number after dividing by, what's the maximum number you have? 2.
3.
This is 3? Okay, 3, yeah.
Yeah.
3. All right, so now you know what kind of food you're going to feed the cat, right? So basically, now, which means that you can say 0 means you never fed the cat, yeah? Okay, so you're just going to return that number. Just for now, you basically return the number. So you can just return rand %free. Right, so that will basically just return one of those. That's what the cat was fed. Now, there's one thing we need to change. Right? There's a couple of things we need to change. What time is it now, by the way? Oh, we got a lot of time. We got a whole hour. So we got a lot of time to play with this program. Okay, we have a whole hour?
8:50.
Yeah. So we have a lot of time to play with this program. Okay, all right. So feedcat is going to basically going to determine the food and just return it, right? So so let's do this. Let's do this. So right at the top of the program, yeah, up there, using namespace standard, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So what you can do is hit enter a couple of times. One more time. Okay. So we are going to define one more time.
Oh,
We're going
okay.
to define what are the equivalents of what Nate suggested before. So Nate suggested a global variable for, what is cat hungry or something like that?
Yeah.
We're going to globals here, except with a change, okay? Now globals are okay. Well, they're not okay, but they're not as bad, okay? So usually they result in a huge deal of problems, okay? But they result in far fewer problems if they are read-only globals, okay? If they are globals that you can also write, then you basically, many people are screwed at that point, right? Because if you have a billboard on 101 and anybody can go and paint signs on it, I don't know, right? So in a politically divided country, you'll have that changing every minute, especially if they're electronically controlled, right? They'll be gray all the time, right? So but it's read-only, then you circumvent a great deal of problems right there. Okay, so only one person has the opportunity to go and change that. So globals, we'll go to the next stage. It is not quite the full-fledged liberty that Nate was going for, but we'll go to the next stage after that. We just say we're going to have globals, but we'll do globals in 2 ways. Okay, we'll do globals in an old-fashioned global C way. Okay, in C, this is how read-only globals were done. With read-only globals, read-only global constants, right? Not even variables, read-only global constants in C++, which a compiler can basically slot in those values, those numbers directly, instead of having, using up a memory location in space, right? So they were done like that. So like this, right? And then we'll change it to a C++ style, okay? And then later on, there's an even better way to do this, and I'll show you all of those later, okay? So right now, so it's a hash define, say space, and say all upper caps, because it's a convention, right? It's a convention, all upper caps. Read-only globals, all uppercase, all uppercase is the convention, right? So say not read-only.
Okay.
Call it not fed, not underscore fed, and then you don't say equals 0, you just say space 0. Okay, so not fed, and then define the other cases too, right? 1 tuna, 2 dry food, or so on and so forth, right? So,
how do I define the other ones?
just define. Like that, yeah, define. And then
tuna, 1, like that. Right.
Yeah. I think there's no semicolon either. See, that's what I say. It's not part of the compiler. It's not part of the C program itself. It's part of the preprocessor. So there's no compiler. There's no semicolon at the end.
All right.
2. All right. Now you can go to your case statements and change the case values to those names, right? So you can change the 0 to not fed. It reads a whole lot better, right? So no, so it's a case 0, right? So you can change that to not fed. So that, would you agree that it reads a lot better?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we'll take that to the next level and say we won't do it the old C way, which is to define these, the C processor, pre-processor directives. This is basically a constant, which is a constant only within that file, because every time when the compiler, the C compiler, the preprocessor, processes one file at a time. Actually, it doesn't. Actually, no, I shouldn't even. No, actually, that's not true, right? It's not even like a static where it's, that value is valid only within the file. It's valid from the point it's hash defined downstream, right? So it's really messy. So we shouldn't even be using this. So let's do it this way, right? So just say, instead of hash defined, you say const int not fed equals 0 semicolon. All right, so now we're doing full, C++, right? So you can say const int equals 0 semicolon, right? So that's much better, right? Because now it's actually C++. It's actually a constant. The compiler knows that because it's a constant, it can do something equivalent to your, hash defines. So you replace the value, so optimization and everything happens. And we're thinking about C++. So a whole lot better this way. Right, so you can delete a couple of blank lines after that if you want, and then now if you run it now, I think if you compile it and run it, we should be able to see, right? Run it one more time. Now you'll see exactly the same value, the same thing over and over again. So I'll show you why. I'll tell you why that's happening. Actually, I won't tell you why that's happening. I'll leave you the exercise of finding out why that's happening and sharing it on Reddit or elsewhere, saying why. If you run it one more time, run it 10 more times, you're still going to get the cat is stuffed. The cat is stuffed, right? Every time.
Yeah.
No, just type /main. Don't compile it and run it. Just just type right there, /main. Yeah. So you keep running it any number of times, you're just going to keep getting exactly the correct. So it's not changing at all. So I'll show you how to make it change. And then I'm not going to explain why it changes, but I would like someone to research this a bit. And you don't even have to research outside of our CS2A class. It's discussed in Reddit, and there's a whole bunch of videos in our YouTube channel where this is described very clearly using demonstrations. So you can actually say, this is the reason why, that thing works. And you can discuss add 23 minutes in this video, right? And you just make a link to our video. And you'll find it there, right? And it's discussed in multiple places, so I'm not going to go into the details, right? So in main, as soon as you enter main, so we're going to make two calls, okay? So make the first call to a function called srand, S-R-A-N-D, and then to the parameter to srand is going to be time, and then the parameter to the time function is going to be a null pointer. Okay, so open parentheses and pass it null pointer, N-U-L-L-E-R.
Right.
Yes, or you can also pass it the value 0, right? 0, typecast it to a. But if you pass it 0, you got to typecast it to a pointer type and all. So that's why I said pointer. But,
see now.
Yeah. Okay. Try that.
Shall I run it?
Yeah. All right. So if you do that now, if you run it again, each time your cat will get fed a different thing, right? Run it again one more time.
Yeah. There we go.
Right. So now you can go. So now you got a bit of randomness injected into your program, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you can play with this, right? So I'm not going to talk for the next 15 minutes, right? I'm just going to do something else. But you guys should play around with this program and try and take it to the next level and say, try and inject some more randomness. You know how to change the random. So if you leave the srand in place, it'll give you a different random number each time, right? So you can play around with it. So you say, I've got a random number now. I can make decisions based on what the random number is because I know branching statements. I can set cat hungry equals true or false. Then inside of my feed cat, I can still take, random numbers. I can, decide on foods. You can do other things too, right? So in fact, what you can do now is you can model a real cat, right? So those of you who are cat people or dog people, right? You can model a real pet here. You can generate a random number, and then in your main statement, in your main program, you can say based on the random number, I'm going to choose a behavior of the pet, right? So if it's if the random number is between 0 and 10, maybe it's hungry. If it's between 10 and 20, maybe it needs to go out and play. But 11 means it wants to play fetch. 12 means it wants to play something else, and so on and so forth. And then you can knock yourself out, right? So the scope for experimentation and playing is basically endless here. So you can say, I can model a complete pet. So you just design a whole pet and you release it on Reddit and say, here you go, guys. You can run this program, and then like your Nintendo pet, right? You can just run this program, and then each time you run it, it'll give you something, right? So each time you run it, maybe your pet does something and gives you a little gift, right? And then different people can run it and say, hey, I ran Matthew's pet, and Matthew's pet gave me a bone, right? And someone else could say, I ran Matthew's pet, and Matthew's pet said it was really hungry, right? And so something like that. So you can do all these really cool things. And that is something that you can do in this class. You got a whole hour, but this will take you like a half hour, right? So I'm not going to interview anymore. So from now on, unless you need my help, right? If you need my help, you just call out to me. I'm not even going to be here.
I have a question about the SRAND.
Hmm?
So with the SRAND, how it says, so is it get the computer's time? Is that what's doing here?
Yeah. All right. So I told you, Chad, I'm not going to go into the detail here because this has been discussed like ad nauseum, like 100,000 times already, right? It's on YouTube.
Oh, on the other previous videos?
Yeah, his previous videos.
Maybe I'll just watch that instead.
Yeah. So watch those. And then when you find it in the previous video, you can do your friends a favor by saying, don't go searching for it. You can actually, and post it on Reddit too. You can say 2377 in this video is when you'll find the answer to that question. Okay. So other people can also take a look. So
cool.
We won't talk about that. So I'm not even going to be here. Okay. So I'll just step out of here, outside of your field of vision. Right. And then, but you can call out, if you're stuck, you can call out and then I'll come and help you. But now the playground belongs to you. So you can take it and then you generate a random number. So we're not even doing looping, right? So we're not doing looping. We can come back here and do looping when, I don't know, it's 9 o'clock. Maybe we'll do looping at 9:30. Right? So come back here, we'll play, try and do some looping techniques then. Until then, for half an hour, you guys play. And say generate a random number. Based on the random number, you decide what the pet is going to do, and then if it's hungry, based on the random number, hungry, play, and so on and so forth, right? And within each of those, you can have different activities, right? You can have feed cat as an activity, play with cat as a different activity. So you choose one of those functions to call based on the random number, and inside of each function, you choose more random numbers and do interesting things, right? So that someone who just runs your program will actually get something interesting to share in Reddit, right? And then you can call this pet. You can give your pet a name, right? You can say this pet. This is Matthew's pet, and it's called Rex. Okay, and then Nate can release his own pet, right? And Susanna can release their own pet, and each of them will have their own names. And then different people will run, play with your pets and say, hey, Rex told me this, Tiger told me that, and so on and so forth. Okay, so there's lots of interesting things you can do here. Yeah. Okay. So I think that's enough, right? So until 9:30. So you've got a lot of time to experiment and play and call out to me, right? I'm just going to be here. I'll be around, so you can call out to me. I'll come back here and sit down and help you if you're stuck. But otherwise, we have time to play, right? This is the time to play. And this is the equivalent of my class. So in my face-to-face classes, what we do really is after, 1 hour of lecture, in the traditional way, right? By the way, here, now that here, how many of you are here? Let's see. How many of you are here right now?
19.
It's a lot of you. Yeah, there's a lot of you. Okay, all right. So someone asked, I participate a lot in Slack and Discord. Do I get participation points? Okay. So here, pass this message on to those people. No, they don't get participation points, right? So you could be the god of Discord and, say everybody's on our Discord channel, Foothill Discord channel, say, go to this person, they have the answer to that question, so on and so forth. You could be like, you could be there, right? And say most helpful person. Unfortunately, I don't look at Discord and Slack, and I can't, right? So the only way to get participation points is here in class or on Reddit, right? If I don't see you in class and I don't see you on Reddit, or I don't see you on Reddit and you're not being helpful in these two places, you basically get 0. You'll be able to pass. You'll get a B+, right? And which also I think is fair too, right? Because the A+ really only should be reserved for people who are really passionate about the subject, right? So A's and A+ shouldn't be handed out to everybody, right? So I think people that are just interested in the subject and want to know what programming is all about, they should get, they should pass the course, which I think I'll make sure, right? If you're interested in the course, you want to know about C++ and programming and so on, you put a decent amount of effort, but you're not really passionate enough about programming to make it a part of your life at this time, I'll make sure you pass the course, okay? But you won't get an A, right? If you get into A territory, you really need to be passionate about the subject, right? So, and then we'll make sure. And then the passionate people, there's only one way you can tell. The passionate people basically come out and they put themselves out there and they say, here, because, it's not enough for passionate people that they're the only ones who are passionate about it, right? Because if you're passionate about it, you want everybody else to be passionate about the same thing too, right? So how many times have you gone out there to a party and everybody else is convincing you to watch some, crappy TV show that you're totally not interested in, right? Because they watch it all the time, right? And because they're so passionate about it, you can tell they're passionate about it. So, but you got to, and it's really hard because you got to weasel away without offending their taste, right? You can't tell them there's a feeble show, I don't watch it, but you got to say, oh, it's really cool, I'll watch it later, right? So so you can tell, right? This is the same in programming too, right? So you can tell, and that's how you go on Reddit and it's videos, and you can see people that aren't participate in class. They're usually trying to say, hey, you can try and do it this way, and they're doing it in spare time too. There's spare time, right? They will cross over into A territory, and and this is also a good sign, right? Because they'll go on to A, B. So I said before, 2A is a funnel that feeds 2B and 2C, but it does get narrow. It does get narrow. Not everybody who enters 2A makes it into 2B, and not everybody who makes it into 2B makes it into 2C. But I think the people that do go all the way through any track, right? Whether it's Java or C++, Python, right, all the way through and master it, will actually have a pleasant surprise at the end, right? Because they'll find that they're able to do things that was completely inconceivable. Because right now, I think what we tend to imagine and what we conceive is always something that we feel is feasible, right? Because there's no point in even devoting brain cycles and imagining things that are unfeasible or inconceivable, right? So we don't do that. But I think what happens is that, as you pick up more and more skills and talent, more and more of the inconceivable territory becomes conceivable, right? And I think as a consequence of which we start getting richer and richer imagination, because our imagination is not constrained anymore. We just start thinking about things which we thought previously were not even possible, but we know now it's not only is it possible, it's basically just possible to do it routinely in the back of my mind while my conscious mind is doing something else. Right? So that becomes possible. I think that once it becomes possible, you can relegate it to your kind of subconscious. Right, because if it's not possible, then your conscious mind has to be focused on it to find out whether it's possible, right? Well, once you know it's possible and you can make a calculus or an automaton do it, that's when it is, right? So as soon as you are convinced that something can be automated, it'll become taken for granted, right? It'll become invisible, meaning that's invisible meaning it's conceivable, but you relegate it to your subconscious. And I think with programming, when you finish 2C, I think. That is the holy grail, right? 2C, because I think in 2A you learn control structures, if, then, analysis, control, how the logic flows. 2B, you're learning data structures, right? I got the logic, but what does the logic work on, right? So you got the tools, but where's the stone, right? Tools and stone together, right? Come together in 2B. So you learn stone, different kinds of stone, different kinds of materials, material science, right? So programming material science. That's what you learn in 2B. 2A is tools, how you can work if you got material, right? 2C is where everything comes together, saying, well, you got the tools, you got the materials, but what do you want to do with it, right? So that's where the self, what you desire, yourself, right? So that comes in 2C, saying that's algorithms, saying that is your problem, that is what you're trying to solve, right? So here is the ultimate problem which you want to solve. But in order to solve it, you needed tools. And this is where you get your tools. And you need materials. This is where you get your materials, 2B. Now, put the two together and now try and solve that big problem. That's really out there. Because solving the real problem, that's what makes a difference in my life, right? So I think 2A, 2B, and C, and you're not even thinking about the big problems until you get to 2C. Because, large part of the universe is still invisible to you, right? So I think when you get to 2C, you get that turning point. When you cross a turning point, you'll say, oh my gosh, I can do all this. I didn't even know I could do all this, right? So then, once you know you can do all that, you don't have to actively, think about it. Because once you know you can do that, your subconscious is working on all the time. The next day when you think, when you wake up in the morning, your brain will be telling you, right, hey, why didn't you try that? Why didn't you try that? Why didn't you try that? And you try that, but your brain wouldn't even have told you can try that many years ago, right? So, and that's because more became possible what was thought to be impossible before. And I think that's the trajectory that most students 2A, 2B, 2C. All right, so I'm gonna step out of here for a sec. Okay, outside your field of vision, as it were. Actually, Peter's not here, or I at least switch the iPad video on. Anyway, I'm gonna be out. So if you want me to come back, call me. Also, if you have something interesting to show, right? Maybe if one of you talked Matthew into some interesting program, right, and you want to run it, call me, all right, before you run it, and so I can also share the excitement with you guys. Okay, all right, is that okay? Can I step out for a couple of minutes? Yeah, so you can call me. Okay, I'm audible range.
Could I ask super fast what the percent sign does?
Percent is take the remainder, divide and take the remainder.
It's knows modulus.
Right.
Okay,
so
all right. Is
the reason why we use
yeah, we could.
1 and 2 is because the reason why we use that is when you divide a number by 3, you can get all these remainders, right? With the
Well, it's just a quick way to do like randomness, I guess.
Zoom kind of
quick to
crashed
do
as
random
you
range by
reminded me.
doing modulus, right?
What was your question?
Oh, I just have an idea for the app.
All right.
So instead of calling it the cat, we could probably do a cin and assign a string to that, and then refer to the cat as the result of the cin. So we could ask a question to the cin like, "What would you want to call the cat?" And then obviously replace the cat with the cat's name. So I don't know.
That's
If
nice.
you wanna,
Yeah, great idea.
yeah. Zoom crashed as I was saying it, so I relogged back in, but yeah.
How did you guys get in the collaborative editor? By the way, I see that it's moving, but I couldn't.
How do we do this? String cat name. Just get line. I don't know if this works. Sin. Cat name. This might work.
1 second. I have an example of this. Let me check what I did. Because I remember I did cin before. Let's see. Or C out before. Week 3. Yeah. So what we could do is I think you've already got it, but try running that. See if
Yeah. Wait.
it's any errors.
And will it run?
Yeah, it's running. I just do /me.
I think this is the slash. Oh, there it goes. It's just
what's the cat's name? What?
Okay. Bob. The Bob is stuffed. That's.
I think it should be cat name is stuffed, right?
Yeah.
Like that.
When I remember on week 3, he showed us that you can do. So the string is cat name. You could do. So let me put this up here. Just you could do
printf.
cn and then cat name. You could do this. Let's see if this still works.
Oh yeah, that also works.
Yeah. I have another idea. What we could maybe do is. I don't know how to do this in C++ though. I was thinking of maybe making the program continuously run, and I don't know, every like 30 seconds we could, I don't know, make a new cat or something like that. I'm just trying to figure out how to do a delay in C++. Let me check.
That might be best left to like a separate thread that's running in the background, but maybe that might be.
Is this server Windows or Unix?
Looks like Unix.
Okay. Let me try something. I just
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just taking this from from Stack Overflow. What's the cat's name?
Right.
Wait, let me just add a print to make sure that. And, all right, so this should sleep for 3 seconds.
Well, 3 microseconds, right? Oh, 3 seconds. Okay, good.
Yes.
Good,
Okay,
good.
let's run it. And /main
Is it because the computer measures in that?
test. I'm not sure. I'm maybe. It's not waiting 3 seconds, which is unfortunate.
Okay.
I should probably
Yeah.
ask the teacher how to do this. Okay, well, maybe rip my idea, but I thought that would be kind of cool.
It did wait a little bit. I
It
think
did,
waiting
but
3 seconds.
I think that's just because it takes a minute to
No,
build
like
the
when I
program.
ran it here, like it's already built. It should run like instantly, but it takes a couple seconds. Like,
You could
but
try making it bigger than 3. You
I'm
could
not
make
sure.
it like 10. Just make it
that's a good
major and
idea.
see what happens.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, sure. Let's try that.
Oh,
Oops, we both did it.
there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4.
It's
Okay,
weird.
cool.
That's
It's delaying that. It's weird that it's not working. Like it's not
Yeah.
doing tests and then what's the cat's name? But I should probably ask the teacher why. But okay, that's cool. So we know delays work.
so it's just
we
use
could-
sleep.
Yeah. So maybe we could do is we could make a function that so string create.
When we feed the cat, we should bring in that code that we did for quest 1 to print out the picture of the cat.
What code?
The draw cat code. And
yeah.
quest 1.
Oh right. I think that was quest 2. Wait, this.
You might be right.
If you're trying to return a string, what are you supposed to put over here?
Yeah, just string. String is the
Then why is it
type.
giving me an error?
Well, I'm seeing any red lines. So
Oh, never mind. Okay. And then what we could do is, so are you okay with me? Wait, no. Let me think. Let's see. Actually, you know what? We can just I have an idea. So every instead of waiting, what we could do is we can have a while loop, and then for every iteration of the loop, we can contents diverge.
too many people changing.
Choose changes. Yeah, what we could do is we could have a while loop, and for every iteration of the loop, what we could do is maybe ask for users' input, like, hey, do you want to create a new cat? And if you do, it'll continue. If not, it'll break. And I think that's a cool idea. Yeah. All right.
Okay. Should I just get started on that then, or do you have?
Yeah, sure. I can help you if you want, or just so
I'll get started, and then if you see anything that I'm doing wrong, you can tell me. I'll put this in its own function. What do you call this? We'll have it return the cat's name. Make cat, and then bool new cat.
instead of having bool new cat, you would probably want to put an if statement wrapping around this. Like when you call this function, you'd want to have an if statement around this. You probably don't want to pass new cat as a parameter. So yeah.
I don't know
So, like,
how you're envisioning it.
Let's say if you're trying to call make cat, right? You want to, instead of doing bool new cat, let's say if new cat equals true, make cat. So you don't have to call a function without if you don't need to. So
Yeah, okay.
Right.
So we'd sort of be separating the code a little bit more, so we don't always call this part.
Yes.
What should we call this? Cat. Give cat. Not a great name, but.
Can you hear something in my background? Sorry, there's a lawnmower going off.
Oh, it's not too loud.
Okay.
String.
Cat name?
Yeah, cat name.
Yes.
That's the cat name. Then here we've got the cat's name, and then we can cat food cat name. And let's check that it works.
Ooh. Illegal instruction. Okay, 1 second. Let's. Let me check this.
All right.
You have to return something for cat food. You have to return a string.
That's true.
Right.
You can just return void if you,
void,
no,
yeah.
Void. Yeah, there we go. Let me run it. Oh, is this just not going to run by itself, or okay. /main. What's the cat's name there? Oops. What's going on? The program is already running. Oh, there we go. Okay, I'll let you type.
Oh, should I be typing?
Yes.
Bob. Yeah. Okay. So then we want to have a while true rename cat feed cat, something like that.
Yeah. I can try working on that.
Sure.
Okay. While true. Okay, so we don't spam the program. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a function that will ask if you want to feed another cat. Yes. Bool feed another cat. And then cout. You want to feed another cat. And then we can string answer. Cn answer, and then I'm so used to clicking Control Save, and then if answer if answer equals one second.
Okay.
If answer equals n, return false. I'll just do else because I wanted to maybe prepare in case somebody did yes or no, but I'll just do else. Return false.
Yeah.
And a wild true seems like it'll cause a memory problem. So here's what I'm gonna do. Bool answer is equal to feed another cat. If answer equals true, else break. Should we do break and return? No, I think we should just return return 0. Yes. Does this look good?
Yeah. We could also do a sleep between feeding cats, like for 5-10 seconds.
That works.
That's optional.
Yeah, no, that's a good idea. Let me reintroduce the sleep stuff. Oh yeah, Unisted is still there. So 5 seconds, you said?
Yeah, something like that.
And 5 sleeps for 5 seconds. Yes. Do you want to add any sort of like I don't know, some foolproof stuff, like if they answer yes or if they answer no? Actually, let's just make sure that this works first, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. No, you can do it.
Oh yeah, we haven't renamed the cat, but
oh shoot.
It's not like necessary. This should still work.
Yes. Do you want to feed another cat?
Yeah, I think you need to put the prompt in the beginning of the while.
Yes. String cat name. 1 second.
I was considering doing something similar with the if answer double equals y. Could we do, because, just in case they input a lowercase y, the or.
Yes.
So the 2 vertical bars and then.
Yes. Just did that.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's like a 2 lowercase function in C++. Let me look that up.
You can use the CC type library.
Where's that?
Yeah, if you search for it, let me see if I can search for the
I found it.
reference page. Yeah, if you go for the CC type library, you can do a 2 lower for letters. So for a string to get the letter, you'll just use you can just use bracket notation and get the first letter with a bracket 0.
Is this correct? Or no? I think I messed something up because
I think that's right.
It's giving me a red line. No function call to.
It's I think it'll be like let's see.
Answer
Because answer is a string, so you'll have to do a subscript 0 in there.
How do you spell it?
It'll be answer open bracket 0 close bracket.
Like this?
Yeah, kind of like how you get like the first element of an array.
Okay. Answer 0.
Yeah.
But now this is giving me.
I think that.
Are you using the std namespace?
This works. Cool. So I didn't know this. Apparently in C++, single or quotes matter. In JavaScript, double quotes and single quotes and all types of quotes can.
Wow. I actually knew this later when I noticed my program did not work with single quotes.
Character is always single quote.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah,
char
single quote, string double quote.
Let's move this prompt. Oh, right. The prompt's over here. Okay. So you want to restart the program?
Yeah, sure.
Can I chime in here for a sec?
Yeah. What's up?
All right. I don't mean to interrupt. Keep going on because I can see you guys are on a roll, but I want to make sure that we're not losing any students who
yes,
are
it works.
yeah, because what might happen in 2A usually is that, because we have a range of skill levels, right? Some people have been programming for a while, some have not been programming at all.
Try lower.
I think, yeah. So these
Nice.
sessions in class, in my face-to-face sessions, used to bunch up. Students used to bunch up. Like, all the hackers will get together and work on something, more advanced, and then the faster and then it becomes multimodal. The distribution becomes multimodal, and so I want to make sure that everybody's together. How can we resist the temptation? I know it's really hard. How can we resist the temptation to keep building bigger and bigger things that might be easy to us, but some of the other students will not be able to keep up with. I think we can
really happy it works
consciously to a set of features, right? We say we're going to improvise and be creative, try various freaky things, but within the parameters. Like, a game is no fun at all if there's no game, no rules at all. So, you have rules of the game and then you play within the game. So yeah, I said, so what we can do is we say, definitely no branching statements, no extra functions than what we already know. Certainly not Unix, Linux intricacies that random people off the street would be expected to know and so on. I think we can make those decisions. And then consciously, I think we just need to have some kind of objective criteria, right? Because if we just say, we'll just play by ear and we're going to keep doing things. And if it starts getting too complicated, we'll, scale back down. We'll miss the time when it actually gets complicated because we don't know when it's get done. So we can set some objective criteria, like saying, okay, no Unixy, Linuxy things, only standard C++ that you would have learned in the last 5 classes. Expressions, data representation, basic functions, and branching statements, no loops. And I think that would be a good idea to make sure that we don't have students dropping off. So I think we lost about a couple of students in the last 20 minutes. I want to make sure that, because the total class strength is gone. They might have gone for a different reason too, right? Maybe they're, but still I want to make sure that we have everyone with us, not just a dedicated group that keeps marching ahead.
I'm just really happy that the program works. I think it's really cool.
It's fantastic. Yeah, I can see the program is good, and I don't think you've made any difficult leaps really. What I was alluding to was I stepped in when I thought there was going to be a danger of it starting to balloon into things that we might start injecting things, right? So I wanted to make sure that doesn't happen. That's why I stepped in before. It looks really good, and it's doing fun things. And I think we should hang on to this program, because after we do loops, we should try this with some of the ideas that I think I overheard some of you talking about, having a loop and then doing multiple things. So you should try all those in the same program, and then have more and more interesting version of these programs that you share with everybody on Reddit and so on. So it's absolutely fantastic. I like it. And I think I'm psyched that this program actually works. So, keep trying it. And running it in the window, and let other people also start giving input, so we can run through it a couple of times. And obviously, I don't mean to stop, right? So now I'm back here, I'm sitting down, but it doesn't mean I'm going to drive, right? You guys are still driving, I'm just watching now, right? Because previously I was just hearing, but now I'll also watch, from time to time, anyway, right? So I just need to check something here, but from time to time, I'll keep watching because it's right in front of me, and so go ahead. All right. If you want me to step away, I can step away too. Because
totally.
Hey, all right. So I'll step away, but just make sure that you, keep within the bounds so that you don't lose people.
Sure. Right. We can also add a catch or something like case, and then if it doesn't match any of those cases, like an else thing at the bottom, right?
Sure. Like a catch on what?
It'd be like the default statement.
Yeah.
For switch.
If nothing else is true.
Yeah. I actually think that this too lower statement, was that Aaron who suggested it to me? Because I think it's very concise, and I really like it a lot. So thank you to whoever suggested that. Aaron, yes, Aaron.
It wasn't. I mean, I mentioned it, but someone else mentioned using the.
Oh, okay.
C10 library.
Okay. Well, whoever that was, thank you. I think that's really concise and really cool.
I was considering something that the professor said earlier in the quarter, that we should use, anything we might use more than once, we should put as its own class. I think this bool feed another cat, we could name it like bool confirmation or something, and then put that outside of main as its own class that we could like call multiple times. Or is that really
I've never worked with classes in C++, but I mean, I'm interested in learning, so.
Well, neither have I. I'm just thinking like you put it outside and then you just call it as, confirmation.
How do classes work? Do you have to declare constructor, right?
Well, we've already used one in this as int feed cat.
These are
and
just
void
functions.
cat food.
These are
functions.
All functions. None of these are constructors.
Yeah, these are
Right.
functions, not classes.
Could we use bool confirmation as a function then?
But this is the confirmation to feed another cat. It like asks the question. I don't know if we can make it more concise than this, or more.
Can we make it more general though? Because like, let's say we wanted to ask if you wanted to, feed another cat. Do you want to, I don't know.
Oh wow!
Rename your cat, whatever it is.
Interesting.
Very different. And basically have the yes/no prompt as like a generic confirmation prompt.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Someone else type it because I lost track of what we're doing.
I mean, I don't know how to do it. I just thought it would be a good thing to do.
Restate.
We can do that.
Wait. Say that again. What you want?
So this yes/no confirmation seems to be something we're doing quite a lot.
Uh-huh.
So I was considering putting it as its own thing outside of main that we could then call multiple times.
For now, I think we're just using the confirmation when we want to feed another cat, right? But it would be useful, sure, if we had like, do you want to, when you say
it
what's
already
the cat's
is
name,
outside of main.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm real dumb.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah, we have lots of functions. It's confusing.
Dude, for the week 3 quest, I was struggling so hard because I was like, I thought my code was perfect and the compiler kept rejecting it, and turns out I just fucking sorry, I'm sorry, I should I just I commented out mean of 3, and I just completely didn't notice it. So stuff like that happens. You just miss stuff, and it completely and you feel like an idiot, but you shouldn't.
It's kind of like, careless mistakes, right?
Even it's not really a careless mistake. It's just you're focusing on one thing, and then you miss stuff. It's a normal
I've got
mistake.
that before with my programs. It can be really frustrating. You don't know exactly what's wrong, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes I miss a semicolon when I use Java, or that's really annoying.
Great, because you don't really need to use semicolons, but you should. But when I'm typing really fast, or I'm trying to fix problem like last minute, it's always nice to have to be kind of flexible. But the downside is the flexibility of that language kind of means that it's very easy to make mistakes. Like today, I learned that I made a serious mistake for a very long time. And JavaScript just let me do it. And anyway, this is getting really off topic, but let's get back to the program.
So you said you want to do a prompt that to rename the cat rather than do another cat. Just a recap.
I was just considering making a general yes/no
just a function
thing
for yes or
that
no?
we could then use
Can I
multiple times for different
Can I
things.
implement it if you want?
Yeah, sure. Have fun.
Can I be the one to implement it?
Sure. Let me know if I'm screen sharing the wrong thing because I cannot see what I am sharing.
Seems to be correct.
Okay, good. I'm just gonna Google some stuff.
Yeah, this is good. This is more generic.
Yeah, it's nice. It's definitely cleaner. We should do that for the other prompt. What's the cat's name? I can
Yeah.
read it. Okay.
It's actually yeah, that's very nice. I think this is very important if you want to make a video game, for example, right? To make a separate prompt function, right?
Mm-hmm.
We also might want to strip the answer, because you could put y with a space, and oh wait, no, never mind, because it's taking the zero off. So if it was space y, then it probably won't work. So if, when it says, do you want to feed a cat, and you ask them,
Right.
All right, let's see if this works.
Could I ask in the bool prompt what the answer and then the square brackets 0 does?
Basically, think of strings as strings in C++ as an array of characters. Somebody on Reddit told me this, and it was such a good explanation. But basically, it's taking the first character, so 0, of the string, and it's making it a lowercase. That's it.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. In basically every programming language, arrays or the count starts at 0. So
even better actually is that the string, I believe, functions more like a vector, and you can do like iterators on it. So you can do like reverse iteration and like forward iteration. You can do like iteration in steps, and then you can like pick apart your string that way. Let me see if I can.
It's funny. I've been programming for a little bit over a year now, and I've used the brackets 0 thing for a string, like countless amount of times. But I never thought of it as I never thought of a string as an array. And when I heard that was like, oh wow, that's how it works. That was a really good explanation. I think a really good way of looking at strings.
Yeah.
It breaks if we don't type in anything because we're getting the first item, and if we don't type in anything at all, then it breaks. But I don't know if we really care about that.
I mean, we have about 16 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever. We can do it.
Fix it.
Yeah, I made it a separate method. I made user input a separate method. You should look at it.
Oh,
optimize it in case we use it many times.
Nice.
You see it?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Do you know what? Can I tell you a lesson I learned from code today?
Sure.
With respect to video games. So, I think a good lesson to know is that you should have these kinds of, universal methods for a video game, right? Maybe a game might prompt you, hey, do you want to do this, right? You may want to use that method, for example, right? A prompt method, or a input method for, type in something, right? Make it so you can make the other stuff cleaner, right? Do you think that's a nice lesson?
Basically, don't keep doing the same thing. Don't keep writing the same code over.
Yeah, that's what I meant. You know, don't keep copying and pasting code.
Yeah. That is a very important lesson. Yeah,
right.
Definitely.
It makes it also a lot more readable, right?
Yeah, and if you need to change something, I mean, if you copied and pasted the code 6 times across,
yeah, it would be
files
really hard to change. If
right, exactly.
There might be a bug in your handling code,
and
right?
you'd have to change it for every single time you copied and pasted the code. So, and then let's say there was a small problem, you'd have to tweak it again and again. It's just making more work for you in the future. The way that I see it is do a little bit less work or do a little bit more work now by generalizing it and only making it so that you have to call it once, you only have to write it once, versus a lot of work in the future where you have to change, a copied version of that code 6 different times. So I think I botched that explanation, but that's just how I see it.
I think that was
Archie.
Basically, like
you see the first name. It's pretty funny, right? ID for cat name.
Oh, where?
On the console, look.
Oh, Bitey, yeah.
That's what I nicknamed the cat. Because the cat bites people.
Okay.
Oh yeah, you did a dot after main. There we go.
There we go. I was actually trying to do it, but someone else did dot. So.
All right. What time is it? Oh my gosh, it's 9:50. We've got like 3 minutes left. But did you guys have a good time? So I wasn't here the whole time, but I could hear a whole bunch of this discussion, and it seemed like it was lively, and a lot of people were participating. Am I right?
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was great.
Hey, so I think this is working out really nicely. How about this? Okay, can you guys take a poll to see if you'd like to do more of this in class, because students teaching other students seems to be provoking more interaction and richness than if I was just talking to you monotonously, right? Same old material over. I think I like this. If you take a poll amongst yourself or on Reddit too, right? To see if you'd like more of this, we can basically do the rest of the
I think I like the teamwork. It kind of gets you ready for a job, right?
Yeah,
and,
yeah. So
I
can be on standby, like today. I mean, I can be on standby, right? So I could be over there somewhere, and I could be listening. If you call me, I'll come by. But I think
that's very nice.
Yeah,
I like that session today, and I was able to come up with some ideas.
Okay, how about this? Every single class. Well, I don't know. You tell me if you want this. Okay, do a poll and then confirm this. But if you say okay, what we'll do every class from now on, I'll start the recording. I got to start the meeting, and I'll start the recording, and then I'll say today's topic is basically this, right? We're going to do loops. We're going to so on and so forth, and maybe I'll give you a simple sample problem or something, but I won't solve it. And then I'll basically, step out of your zone, because I think if I'm in front of you, you're not, it's cramping your style. So I'll just step out, make myself a cup of coffee or something, right? And then I can keep an ear out in case you call my name, like Alexa, right? So I won't be listening to everything, but just my keyword, okay? So if you call me saying, Anand, come here, and then I'll come and help. Otherwise, I'll just. Also, I'll come by.
I figured out something. You know why you get the same thing if you don't type it. I think I know why you get the same thing if you when you do the random thing, why you get the same thing if you don't type in sran time null in the beginning.
Oh yeah. All right. So
I think can I type that in Reddit?
Yeah. Don't worry about all that, right? So those are things you should discuss in the subreddit,
cool.
And it's in the videos and all, right? So you can discuss those in the subreddit. But what I was going to say was, I'll just intervene from now on. or I'll try. We'll see how it goes. Okay. All right. So from now on, I'll just introduce the topic and then a sample problem for you guys to work on, and then you're going to work on collaboratively, amongst yourselves in one of these windows, and I'll keep an ear out. But I will come and just course correct a bit if I think that the discussion is probably going in a way that is losing students or drifting in a direction that will make it harder for us to complete the daily goal, that day's goal, right? Otherwise, I'll just let you drift inside of waters that have fences on both sides. How about that? Is that okay? Then I don't have to talk as much, and then I can just listen more.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I loved it. And I love the interaction. And in fact, now I have a really good reason for looking at the video too, right? Because there's a whole bunch of the video that I didn't see, and that happened. So I'll go and take a look at the video.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure.
It's me, Nate. So if you want your program to continuously run until your user stops it, is while true a good practice? Because I know it.
No, yeah. Good. That's a very good question. Now, the way you typically do that is you have to have a blocking procedure. Somewhere in your code, you have to have a blocking procedure. If you don't have a blocking procedure, then if you just an infinite tight while loop and infinite tight, it'll just chew up a lot of CPU. Unnecessarily. It'll just be zipping.
It returns 0 if you put no, and we put a delay every 5 seconds. I don't know if that's necessary.
That's okay. Yeah. Even if you have a small delay, right? Even if you have a delay of 1 second, that's okay. I mean, a while true loop with a delay of 1 second will not kill your CPU. But if you have a unbridled while loop,
what if it's a while loop where does it matter if there's a case where you can return 0 and exit out of the while loop, or will it still kill your CPU without a delay?
No. If you break out of the loop, you're fine. But if you're inside of the loop, if you're inside the loop and you've not broken out with a return or a break or something like that, right? Then if you just have a tight loop, it will actually kill your CPU. Maybe you can do it right now.
Yeah, I know you can do it. I was just wondering if having or if you could not have the delay but still have the return 0, would that still kill your CPU?
Yeah, if you return it, if you return out of if you break out of the loop, you're safe.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, if you have a while true and then you have a break or a return, you're good. But if it's just like a recursion, right? Yeah, when we do recursion later, if you don't have an out here. By the way, in this code, I just noticed something in this code. Is that I thought I noticed something. No, that's fine. If it comes to me, I'll mention this later. But I want to make sure everybody is on board and everybody's understands everything that happened today. And then this a function called sleep that you called inside of it's you have to explain that to the other students, right? So because I think that some of the students may not know about system calls like sleep. But other than that,
I basically just Stack Overflowed it. So I can read what I saw in Stack Overflow. So there are 2 different ways to lay the program. So if you're on Windows, you do include windows.h and then you write the command sleep and then the amount of milliseconds. But in Unix, you include unisted.h and then you do usleep and then you do micro and then 3 times and then you just specify the amount of microseconds. So
hey, by the way, Nate, you can actually do sleep in Unix also. I think
really?
Here, sleep will just work. You can just say sleep
Really?
5 and it'll sleep for 5 seconds.
Really? Okay.
I think it's
what's the
milliseconds
difference?
actually. So you'd have to do sleep 5,000.
Yeah. So sleep.
No,
is
that is
a
a command.
No.
Yeah. So on the command line, you're invoking the command called sleep. But I'm saying there is a function called sleep, right? Just like you have usleep here. You can turn the usleep into sleep and say just 5. Sleep 5 will sleep for 5 seconds.
Really?
Yeah, sleep is a standard Unix. I think is it a system call? Yeah, it must be a system call, right? So yeah, you can do a man sleep.
I'm just surprised that it's in seconds and not milliseconds.
No, that's for microsleep. You're using microsleep. You don't need to use microsleep. That's all later inventions, right? So there's a basic system sleep. You can just say sleep. Don't you? Yeah, sleep and you say 5.
It's interesting that it's a system call. So it's letting the system do the timings for how long to do the delay.
Yeah, you have to, right? Because otherwise there's no way you can do it properly, especially in a multitasking system. Because the system, the operating system is what accounts for your resource usage. So that knows how many CPU cycles you've used and how many CPU seconds you've used, right? So it keeps its books. So only the system can tell you. So that's why it has to be a system call, where you tell the operating system, sleep my program for 5 seconds, right? So that has access to the clock, and it'll set the right timers and alarms and everything, and it'll make sure your system gets the right signal.
And so the reason then that sleep 5 is actually 5 seconds is because the Unix sleep is implemented as seconds.
Yes, it's a historical call. It's an ancient call that just takes 5. I think micro sleep and nano sleep and all those are later inventions that came afterwards.
I think I figured something. I just learned something cool today about CPU cycles.
Great. Yeah, share it all and Reddit.
You know the task manager? I think that's what's using to make a percent, the amount of like cycles, right? It can take.
Well, there's actually special registers for clock.
By the way, I think we're out of, what time is it now?
9:56.
Yeah. So lots of things will be disappearing. But it's an interesting point. You should not let it evaporate. Just share it on Reddit.
Cool.
Yeah. Maybe. Okay. All right.
I'll share.
All right. But thank you very much, guys. And I'm going to depend on you to tell me, okay? All of you guys, tell me if you want to do student-driven teaching on Tuesday next week, which means we're going to be doing looping. Actually, one thing we didn't try was default and break in Switch. We didn't talk as much about it, but start a Reddit discussion, or watch the videos that we've done on Switch statements before. Right? Let's start a Reddit discussion, or make some modifications. Having default here and default there, and no default at all, and no break at all. Try these experiments. I try, and then maybe Chad says, "No, I did an experiment where I omitted a break, and this is what happened." And then Matthew chimes in saying, hey, the reason why it happened because the break, and so on, right? So you have a discussion on Reddit. And I never see that, right? After this class, bam, the next time I see you guys or even hear about you is on Tuesday, right? And very few of you sometimes do chime in on Reddit and other forums. But other than that, other than these Tuesdays and Thursdays, I actually don't see a great deal of activity from you guys. So that's not the way it should be. You should be constantly engaged. And trying out these things, be interacting with each other on Reddit, okay? Because those are the things that signal to me that you are really interested in C++ and programming, right? Not just a grade. All right, thank you very much for your time. There's supposed to be a storm later today. Looking forward to it. But I will see you on Tuesday next week, hopefully, and stay well and let me know if you have any questions, and chime in Reddit, right? Yeah, thank you, Nate. Right? Yeah, chime in on Reddit and hold the polls and win my money, right? Win my money, right? So nobody's even trying to win money. I don't know why. You guys are all rich, really rich, right? So, but still, just for the heck of it, right? Even if you don't need the money, just try it and yeah. Okay, all right. I'll see you guys on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
All right.
Thank you.